and I don't think this goes, and you should be doing this, and you should do it differently. So right now I have a lot of opinions helping me out. It's great.
I just gotta grab a chair.
Keep giving me your opinions.
Okay, well,
And
beautiful. Well, maybe
wow.
since Phil is not here, we should go ahead and introduce our speaker today. Would that be a good
Yeah.
idea? Well, we
Yeah, I think
have
that would
the
be good.
amazing ninja himself, Peter Parnegg, with us today to talk to you guys a little bit about some crucial things that are happening in our market and some best practices for you guys to execute on. So I'm going to let the amazing Peter Parnegg take it away. Go for it.
Nicholas, thank you ever so much. It's great to be here. I'm excited about this. You know, in March, nobody knew what Zoom was. By May, we were all going, do I have to sit through another Zoom meeting? And we all had a new vocabulary, which is let's go Zooming. And now in October, there are two new terms. One is Zoom fatigue and zoomed out. And so hopefully what we can do today is we can overcome a little bit of zoomed out. I'm going to share my screen and let me share just a little bit with you about what we're doing here. Does everybody see something that looks like ninja selling? Awesome. All righty. So let me start with thank you so much for joining us today. How is everybody feeling? Pretty wild times. If you would have thought in March that we would have been doing this, I think everybody would have said, I think not. My name is Peter Parnegg. I'm a CCIM, a CRS, CRB, most importantly an SOB, which is in our terms a son of a broker. Raise your hand on your Zoom reaction if you are second generation. I can't see y'all. My dad was in the real estate business, and if you were like me, I grew up going, please, dear God, let me never get in the real estate business, because if this is what it looks like to be a realtor, my dad, I don't want to do it. And just to give you perspective, I got my license in 1978. There seems to be some sort of vortex about getting into the business, and I owned and ran Coldwell Banker Legacy, which is New Mexico's #1 real estate company since 1998. It's where I met Chris and Phil. We've been long time friends, and I still bleed some blue. But like most of us, I spent my life kind of looking for a productivity system. And in 2009, I was introduced to Ninja. And this is not a pitch for Ninja, but I want to give you some background for what we're going to do today. You know, most of us, and I remember since 1978 when I got my license, we were all going, well, where should we hitch our wagon to be productive? And for those of you who've been around, maybe some of you remember Tommy Hopkins. And then along came a guy named Joe Stumpf. And then, are there any sweat hogs in the room who went to Floyd Wickman? That was the big deal in the 80s. And then, of course, Brian Buffini came along after Joe Stumpf and started by referral only. And then there was Danielle Kennedy and David Knox and Tom Ferry. And then Mike Ferry, who scared me within an inch of my life. I went to a Mike Ferry seminar in like 1993. And I said, if this is what it takes to be famous, I would rather be a Walmart greeter, you know, because he was all about cold calling and just, it was horrible. It worked, but I couldn't do it. And now, you know who's the latest productivity choice? Buy Zillow leads. And all of them had little pieces, but every one of them had something missing because they all focused on old school prospecting techniques and smile and dial, sort of what we call depression era old school closing. And in 2009, Larry Kendall showed up and did a little presentation for my company. And at the end of 3 hours, I went, oh my gosh, finally a system that I could hitch my wagon to because it was user-friendly. And it was user-friendly for the customer, and it was user-friendly for the agent. And at that point, our whole world at Coldwell Banker Legacy in Albuquerque turned over, and we became a Ninja company. Just a touch about Ninja selling. If you've read the book, you know, but interestingly, the book was published in 2018. It was a 20-year write for Larry as he built the system. But Axiom Business Books, which gives business book awards, gave it the Gold Medal Award as the best new sales book in 2018. And Inman News 2 weeks ago, on the Reader's Choice, this was voted as the #1 recommended sales book of all possible books. So just a little background on that. one of the things that we know is that trainers, we actually found an interesting article in the New York Times that all of the sort of the big name trainers right now, Tom Ferry, Brian Buffini, good ones, none of them have been in the business for 20 years. Tom Ferry will tell you he's never sold a house in his life. And everything about Ninja is tried here in Fort Collins, which is where I live now. I'm a part owner and a Ninja instructor, is road tested in what we call a sort of a normal market. And this is the systems for success. We have frequently been the #1 company in the country in sales per agent. Last year, we averaged 26 transactions per agent in a pretty normal market using the Ninja system. So anything that we share at Ninja, we road test here rather than kind of dream it up, but we have to prove that it works. So the question is, what's a system? And there are 4 components to a system. The first is you can hand it to someone. It's not an idea. It's something we can give it to you. And it's in the book. Number 2, it gives predictable results. Our goal is to make sure that our ninjas are up 20% above the market. So if the market is up 20, our ninjas are up 40. If the market is down 10, our ninjas are up 10. Third, and this is the most important thing, half of the world are introverts. And all the selling systems I was always around said, you got to get your name out there. And for an introvert, the thing they hate the most is getting their name out there. And so what the system does, it has scrubbed out what we call all personality specific behaviors, like being an extrovert when you're really an introvert. And then fourth, it has to work in California. It has to work in an up market, has to work in Colorado. It has to work in resort markets, and it does. So for us, we have a simple system, a simple phrase, TSW, the system works. And we have a recipe, and here's what we know. About 60,000 people follow this system. And we know that if you follow the recipe, the cookies will turn out. So what I want to do is give you a couple of pieces today that might be really valuable at this moment going forward. Because the #1 thing we're trying to do is turn people into on-purpose realtors, where they take the shortest amount of time to get from point A to point B. What we know is in California, I think it takes 127 hours to get your basic license. And what we have turned out as an industry is thousands of on-accident realtors. You get your license, and I know this for a fact because I was licensed in California. When you get your license, do they teach you anything about how to be a realtor? No, they teach you how to pass the test. So what you get out of with your real estate license is you are a complete on-accident realtor. And you have to figure out how to get from point A to point B. And oh my gosh, it's just exhausting the way we do it. And so we're all trying to put together a little system and try a little bit of this. And I feel like singing a little bit of Monica in my life, a little bit of Brian in my life. And we all put together various systems. We want to turn you into an on-purpose realtor. So the question is, on October 21st, what's ahead? Who would have thought in March that we would have had the biggest real estate market in the history of the United States following the biggest pandemic in history? All of us were just predicting the disaster of all times. Colorado last month had the #1 sales month in the history of Colorado. I was just on a call this morning with Florida, and the company is having its biggest October in the history of the company, and it's 30 years old. So who would have thought that? But here's the obvious question. Will it last forever? And the answer is no. I've watched California cycles for 40 years, and you guys swing big when you swing. So what we have to do is figure out, are we an on-accident realtor or an on-purpose realtor now? So let's talk about some things we can do today to change that. You happen to live close to the ocean. And what we say is success often comes to those who get in front of the inevitable. And we know that the inevitability is that the market will change. And so what does that look like? If you're a surfer, when you sit in the ocean and you wait for the wave, you're scanning behind you to see a swell coming. And then when you see the swell coming, you have to do 2 things. You have to position yourself to catch the wave, and you have to start paddling before the wave gets to you or you miss it. In other words, you have to prepare for a change before the change is there. So our phrase for the day, and I want to focus on this, is to paddle hard and plant seeds. Another way to put it is, when it's time to harvest, it's too late to plant the seeds. You have to plant prior to harvesting. It's too late to paddle when the wave is here. We have been living off of an amazing 3 or 4 months of a market, as we just heard, that is 14% up. And when the market is up, everybody succeeds. All you do is hop on the wave. A rising tide carries all ships. But the question is, when the market recedes, like the tide, what will you do? Will you be prepared for that? So there's an urgency right now to start preparing for the shift, because everything is unpredictable. So the question is, where should you put your energy and where should you put your focus? The way we look at it at Ninja is pretty simple. Our mission is to create value. And our job every day is to create value with the people we know and the people we're connected to. And if you hold that in mind, let's talk about how you can do that. Stephen Covey, in his brilliant book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he describes 3 circles, and we all are affected with them. The outer circle is your circle of concern. And what he knows is that when you are focused on your circle of concern, you are worried, you are distracted, you are not in control. In other words, you're in a victim mentality. And let me give you some examples of your circle of concern. Social media posts, the interest rates, the election, all that stuff keeps everybody out of their circle of influence and their circle of control. So what we want to do is now say, wait a second, let's put our attention to our circle of control, not our circle of concern. And so the question is, what do you have control over? So ninjas, we focus on our circles of control and influence, things we can do something about, and we put as little attention as possible into our circle of concern. Has anybody seen the movie The Social Dilemma? If you have not seen that movie, it is one of the most unbelievable movies about the power of the distraction of the social media right now. And it's a Netflix documentary that describes what has happened and the evolution of the social movement. And it's done by the people who created it, all of whom say, we will never let our kids be on social media. So I would move that high to your list to understand why this is your circle of concern rather than your circle of control. So for Ninja, we've got it pretty simple. We focus on our mission every day, which is to create value. We execute daily habits which allow us to, we can't focus on production. Everybody says, I have to get more listings and I have to get more sales. But guess what? We do not have any control over when people choose to list their house or when they choose to buy. The only control we have is on the efforts that we make that create the likelihood of sales. And for us, we have daily habits. So for us, the antidote for worrying in your circle of concern is to focus daily on positive activities. And the key positive activity that we can all do is to stay connected to our people. And I want to talk about that. At Ninja, our goal is not to be in sales, but our goal is to be a proactive, trusted advisor. 3 separate words for our clients. In other words, the friends that we know, the people that we know, and the people that we've served, our job is to be the go-to person when they want information. In other words, we want to be the source of trusted information. And we do that by creating value every day. So the first place we start is starting our morning off right with a morning routine. And if you aren't doing this, one of the key Ninja habits is before you get out of bed in the morning, focus on and say 3 things you're grateful for from yesterday. We know that that puts your energy in the positive energy quadrant. Then continue the practice of focusing on an affirmation. We like to write them 25 times a day for 30 days. Number 3, review why you're living, your purpose, your reason for being alive. If you've never done a life list, we suggest it. It's a modified bucket list, or it's a vision board. But right now, with everything having been just so upended for the last 6 months, I would urge you all to ask the following question. What are you looking forward to? Because, for example, my wife and I love to travel, and we had to amend all of our travel plans during the pandemic. And we realized the other day, what is it that we're looking forward to? So one of your assignments is to get clear on what you're looking forward to right now, because that is what propels your business. We love to read something positive every day. And one of the core Ninja activities is to write 2 personal notes a day to people who've helped you, anybody who's helped you, whether in my case, it was Chris and Phil, whether it was a title person, whether it was a mortgage person, whether it was a client, whether it was somebody who just gave you a referral. Congratulate people no more on Facebook, but let's start writing personal notes. That morning routine puts you in the right energy quadrant, and it makes your day great. Because here's what we know. If you start your day great, your day is great. If you link together a bunch of great days, you start having a great week. When you link a bunch of great weeks together, you start having a great month. And that's how you create a great year. So it all starts with a morning routine. One of our favorite thought leaders, Raman Sharma, says that your circle of concern is your circle of distraction. And he says it perfectly. The enemy of mastery is not mediocrity, it's distractions. The addiction to distractions is ruining many potentially awesome lives. So the number one distraction we believe right now is the news and social media. It is rattling everybody. And I don't know if this has happened to you, but a 5-minute detour onto Facebook turns into a 55-minute detour. And I don't know about you, but every time I watch the news or go to Facebook, I get off feeling anxious, upset, and I do not feel better, I feel worse. And if you watch the movie The Social Dilemma, I think you might experience the same thing. The next thing we can do is to focus on success habits. And I want to talk about this. There are a ton of books on habits out there. High Performance Habits, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, The Power of Habits, The Slight Edge. But there's an interesting quote that I think is really important as we look at really finishing 2020 on a really high note, but really planning for 2021. F.M. Alexander is an Australian singer. And it turns out he lost his voice, his number one asset, because he had bad habits. And he became a motivational conversationalist. And he said, people do not decide their futures. They decide their habits. And their habits decide their futures. And he realized he had bad habits daily. It's funny, I got hoarse while I was doing this, which caused him to lose his voice. And he changed his habits and then regained his singing voice, or in our case, regained our business. So the question I want to talk about now for a few minutes is, how do you build habits that last? You know, most of us brush our teeth once or twice a day. And we do that every day because a habit like brushing your teeth, if you don't brush your teeth every day, you're not going to lose your teeth. If you brush your teeth once a week, it'll take a year till you lose your teeth, and it'll only take 2 weeks until you lose your friends. But we do it twice a day because it matters, the consistency. So I want to introduce to you, I think, the best book that's ever been written on habits. And again, I can only see a few of you, but if you have read or listened to Atomic Habits, raise your hand. I think it was mind-blowing, and I want to walk you through. Yeah, Casey just raised your hand. I thought it was a mind-blowing book, but I want to introduce you to a couple of concepts. In the book, he says, often we have this idea like, I want to exercise more, or I want to read more, or I want to do something. And so you try and create the habit. But he said, before you create a habit, if it is to last, you have to create your identity. Because when you have an identity that your habits are supporting, they last. But when you try and just create a habit, they very rarely last, which really is your vision of and for yourself. Who do you want to be? And then you ask the question, do your habits match your identity? And this was, for me, an incredibly powerful concept. Let me dive into it a little bit more. What he says, interestingly, is the good and bad about setting goals. For example, if you say, I want to exercise more, and you say, I'm going to exercise 3 days a week for a month. If you do it, they're great. But most people slip during that. And then they feel defeated that they couldn't achieve their goals. And he says goals, strangely, can be self-defeating. So his alternative is instead start by clarifying your identity, your vision for yourself. And so the sentence that you might tackle, and I'm going to suggest you do all this stuff this week, because this is a fantastic way to head into November and to set up a great 2021. Start a sentence that says, you know, I'm the type of person that eats healthy food. I'm the type of person that keeps my commitments. I'm the type of person that takes care of my body. I'm the type of person that cares about the people around me. I'm the type of a person that is aware of other people's needs. So instead of saying, I want to have a diet to be healthier, declare and identify, I'm the type of person that is healthy. I am a healthy person. I am the person that keeps my commitments. I take care of my body. So the question is, why don't you take a little bit of time in the next day and say, what is the type of person that I would like to be? What would be the identity that I would that I want to adopt? And then whenever you have to make a decision around that, you ask the question. Here's the example. I'm in the grocery store. I love sea salt and vinegar potato chips. They're my favorite. I've got my basket. I walk by the potato chip aisle, and my favorite brand has 8 bags. And you go, I better stock up. So you start putting the potato chips in your basket, but at the same time you go, wait a second. I am a healthy person. Would a healthy person put 6 bags of potato chips in their basket? And you go, no. So instead of trying to fix the habit, make your habits support your identity, and it becomes much more powerful. We're going to go a little deeper into this. For about 15 years, and Chris especially, and Phil, I want to weigh in with you. I've been trying to figure out what is the best analogy for the relationship between an agent in the company and the company itself. And the best that I can come up with is that the company you align with, for example, is the Super Bowl winning team. Coldwell Banker Nationally and Coldwell Banker Coastal Alliance are the Super Bowl winning team. But what is my relationship to being on that team? And we believe that you, every agent who's listening to this call, you are the CEO on the field. In other words, you're the quarterback. While you're working every day, you're calling the plays. You have to respond to the clients. You're calling the audibles when a bad inspection comes in, when the agent on the other side forgets to order the termite inspection. Your job is to respond on the field and direct the team. In other words, you're directing your own team just as Phil and Chris are directing you as a team. So if you adopt that mindset as that you're the CEO on the field, then who's your team? So the mindset and the declaration that we would love for you to adopt is you're the CEO of your own real estate business. In other words, I'm not a real estate agent. I'm not an associate. I'm a CEO. And then here's the mindset to have the shift. As the CEO of my business, who is my team? Who's my company? The people on your database are your company. And so the mindset is to quit looking as the people on your database as prospects and the mark, but instead look at them as your team on the field, that together you win together. And your job as the quarterback, as the CEO, is to create a culture on your database. So the question that I would ask you to ask yourself right now is that if the 200 or 150 or 250 people on your database are your company, are you acting like the CEO of your company, or are you acting like a sales associate who's hoping to get a couple of deals from your database? So you are in charge of creating the culture of your business with your team. And here's what I'd like to say. How you treat the people, how you treat all people is how they treat you. And so the question is, how are you treating the people on your database? And here's what we need to think about. You never need to be nervous when you're being of service. So let's talk about that in more depth today. One of my favorite games is to play the game of CEO. Now, here's what we know. People are really good at figuring out what's wrong with things. And if you hang out with your friends, everybody bitches about what's wrong about the airlines or what's wrong about Target or what's wrong about the real estate company or what's wrong about this. And when you are spending your time being critical, you are in a victim mentality. What you're really in is an employee mentality. But let's convert that to a game of CEO, because a CEO doesn't complain about things, they figure out how to fix it. They're a player. So here's what I would suggest, and here's the game we're going to play, is let's play the game of CEO. For example, next time you're in Target and the checkout line is slow and you're trying to figure it out, instead of complaining about the checkout line being slow, if you were the CEO of Target, how would you fix it? You know, people have a sort of a love-hate relationship with Southwest Airlines. I happen to love them. But people who've never flown on Southwest, you know what they do? They go, I hate this cattle call. I want my assigned seat. Well, the CEO of Southwest Airlines, and let me give you an example. It's the only airline in the history of airlines that has never had a non-profitable quarter. And it's because their CEO is focused on their people. And so what I'd love to do is now say, all right, if you're the CEO of your real estate business, how are you going to fix it? So let's talk about that right now. Let's see if we can get the slide to move forward. Thank you very much. So imagining that you're the CEO of your business, you would do what? So let's make a declaration. As the CEO of your business, your identity, you are in charge of defining the culture in your business. You follow a system, and I don't care which system you follow, but pick one and follow it. Obviously, I'm partial to the Ninja 9. As the CEO of my business, I'm in charge and I take care of my people. I take pride in adding value to the people that I know. So your task for today is to sit down and say, if I visualize myself as the CEO of my business and my people on my database are my team, and I'm the quarterback on the field calling the plays with my team, are you acting like a CEO or are you living in distraction praying for deals? So this week, here's your first thing. As the CEO of your people, what I'd love for you to do is imagine you're about to hire somebody. You're going to hire an assistant. Things are going great, and you said, I finally need an assistant. And I'd love for you to write down the 3 behaviors that you would want anyone that worked for you to practice. So for example, I want them to show up on time. I want them to be focused. I don't want them to do 5 things at a time. I want them to be proactive and reach out and connect to my clients rather than just sitting there waiting for the phone to ring and going, well, nothing happened today, so I guess I can go home. Then apply them to yourself. In other words, do you behave the way somebody that you would want to hire behaves? Now, I want you to ask yourself the following question. Would the people on my database know right now that I cared about them based on how I've treated them for the last 60 to 90 days? Because here's the key. If you're Patrick Mahomes or one of the great quarterbacks, they are connecting with every player on the field all the time to get the best performance from their team. By the way, they're not sending them an email or a text. So I want to lay out an interesting concept. Most people say marketing is the answer. Well, here's the key. Marketing creates awareness, but relationships create business. And then the question is, what creates relationship? Connections. So do not confuse marketing with creating business. It just creates awareness. We have to sustain relationships in the real estate business. So what is a connection? I would like to point out something to you. There's something that we've noticed over the last 6 months. The social contract, and a social contract is an unspoken agreement of how people behave, has been amended in the last 6 months due to the pandemic. And here's what I mean. If you were an agent who sold a house a year and a half ago, and you had not done anything but send a couple of texts and emails to your former client, to your past buyer, and after a year you felt totally guilty that you hadn't called them, because that's what realtors do. And then after a year you go, well, I can't call them because they're going to be mad at me that I haven't called them. If you screwed up the courage to call those people after a year, prior to the pandemic, 25% of people were picking up the phone if you called them. Since the pandemic, our data shows that 80% of people are picking up the phone because they're lonely, they're looking for connection, they're somehow looking for interaction. So here's what that means to us. You can now call anybody on your database and they want to hear from you. Guilt is off the table. This is what I mean by the social contract has been amended. So to create any business, step one right now is to nurture relationships with anybody you've ever known. And how do we do that? By asking questions, not by telling people, but by asking. And here's what we believe. People are starving for real connection right now. Everything's goofy, mask or no mask. What should I do? Can we go to a restaurant? Can we travel? This is an amazing time to actually be connecting with people. So the question is, who should you connect with? Everyone on your team. And by your team, it's everybody you know, not just past clients, not just people you're trying to get business from, but your friends. And it doesn't have to be in Southern California. It can be people all over the country, because here's what we've discovered. It's a globe now, it's not a city. So make your commitment to pick up the phone and call people you haven't talked to in 10 years, 5 years, 7 years, 3 years. And then we're gonna talk about how you do it. It's a veritable cornucopia of opportunity to connect with people right now because of the pandemic. So remember, your mission is to create value in your conversations. And how do we do that? If it's been amended and people are picking up, we have to learn our 4 questions. So when you call somebody now, and if you called somebody you hadn't talked to in 2 years, you know what we used to say? Hey, Nicholas, how you doing? How's it going? And we would say something kind of awkward and clunky like that, and it was fine. But things are so different right now. I would urge everybody to ask the following question. How are you feeling right now? So when you call somebody and you say, Nicholas, I haven't talked to you in 2 years. You've been on my mind for this whole pandemic. And today I made the decision I was going to pick up the call and find out how you're feeling with everything that's going on. People are so raw in their emotions that they want to share that with you. Don't ask how it's going. How's you doing? Ask them how they're feeling, because they're going to say, wow, we have an election coming up, the pandemic, who knows what's going on? They open us up. I don't know whether to be worried about the pandemic. Maybe the virus is real. I'm scared. My mother got sick. Give them the opportunity to be real with you. And don't feel afraid to ask a vulnerable question like, what are you most nervous about? Because connection happens through vulnerability. Don't ask the same old question that everybody else is asking. Ask the real question. How are you feeling? And then when real estate comes up, don't offer an opinion. Ask them back, because they go, well, what do you think about the market? Our favorite question is to ask it back. We have our own opinion, but tell me what you think about the market. Everybody wants to share and everybody has an opinion. Let them talk. And then here's a weird one that we would never, ever been able to ask. Have you been okay? Did anybody in your family lose their job? Are you okay right now? Because this is a unique opportunity with the social amendment being amended for you to be more real than you've ever been. So quit being fluffy and instead be real and make connections. And through these 4 questions, not what telling them, you're going to have the best conversations you've had in years, and it'll be fantastic. So the most important thing, please do not ask for a referral. Some trainers say at the end, you know what you have to do? You have to say, oh, by the way, Nicholas, do you know anybody that's thinking of buying or selling? And what that does is it takes a real and meaningful conversation and turn it into a sales pitch. In 2020, everybody knows the rules that we are interested in business. Don't wreck a great conversation by bringing up business, is what we propose. So one of our very favorite books of all time is called The Go-Giver. If you've read it, I think it's brilliant. If you've not, I would order it immediately. It's short and it's unbelievable. But he talks about the law of authenticity. The most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. So your best skill right now, whether you're a ninja right or not, is to be a good listener, not a good talker. Shut up and ask questions. Ask more than you talk. Be a proactive connector And what I mean by connector is talk to the people that you know, use the phone, quit sending texts and quit sending emails. You know, in 2020, the most powerful hope that we have of an emotion is an emoji. Let's quit using emojis to create connections. Instead, let's pick up the phone. When you see something on Facebook that is an interesting thing, instead of getting in the like stream, pick up the phone and say, hey, I saw your Facebook post. Tell me how you're feeling. That picture of you and your daughter, I know she had to have a virtual graduation. How did that feel to her? And let's take this opportunity, which is a rare opportunity, to quit being a bunch of social medias, but let's be socially connected. And the only question is, why not? Because we're afraid of it. So what I'd urge you to do is to follow the law of authenticity, give the most valuable gift you have to offer, act like the CEO of your business, and ask yourself the question every day: would the people on my database know that I truly cared about them right now based on how that I've treated them? So thank you for your time today. I took a little bit of extra time, Phil. If you have any questions, comments, I'd love to hear them. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And if you have any comments, I'd love to hear them. So anyway, and Peter Wernath, does this advice apply across generations? Absolutely. You know, it's really interesting. We have an interesting Zillow study that say that when people are when millennials, they'll interact with social media and texting. But when they're thinking of you as their proactive, trusted advisor, they want live interaction. And this comes from a study of 13,000 millennials. So yes, it does apply across generations.
Peter, thank you so much. I'm sorry that I checked out, but I wanted to. And Nick, thank you for stepping in and introducing Peter. And I don't know, I just want to give you a little context, a little background. Peter is a former owner of a sister Chairman Circle company in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Coldwell Banker Legacy. And it's an exceptional company, obviously because of Peter's contributions to building that company. But I think in watching this morning, Peter, you chose to pursue a passion, and you found the right spot with the Ninja program. And I don't know whether you covered this at all, Peter. I apologize. But the Ninja program was created by a gentleman named Larry Kindle. He is the broker owner of the Group Real Estate in Fort Collins, Colorado. And the group, historically, year after year, has the highest per person production of any real estate brokerage in the country. So these fundamentals that Peter just shared with you are spot on. Peter we've been invited, and I'm not sure this was mentioned either, and I apologize for any redundancy, but we have been extended an invitation to join other Coldwell Banker, our sister Coldwell Banker companies, for a Ninja installation training in Fairfield, Northern California. Coldwell Banker Keppel Gateway is our sister company, has extended this invitation. Peter will be doing it over a 4-day period. Casey will be sending out the flyer to each of you, as well as posting it. And we want to strongly encourage you to take advantage of an exceptional opportunity. I'd like to see a sizable group of us go up there together, absorb the principles of being a ninja, because ninjas are the top producing agents throughout the country as a rule. Peter,
Phil, thank you so much. I'm going to close my little section with this. I'd been in the business 32 years when I saw Ninja the first time. And I pretty much thought I'd seen it all. I'd seen all the trainers. And all I could say, and I was sitting with Mike Carter, you know, Mike, we're in Colorado doing this installation. And the only thing we could say is, oh my gosh, if we had only known this from the beginning. So whether you're 6 months into the business, 6 years into the business, or 30 years into the business, I had never seen anything like it. And it's pretty transformational. So thank you for the opportunity to share. No, it's not, Andre, it's not Zoom, it's 4 days. It's transformational is what it is. It's not a training. We say there's plenty of training in the world. We want results. And so it's not Zoomable would be the answer.
And it'd be nice live, because all of us in this business are social. We're people. Certainly, COVID protocols will be followed, but it's an opportunity to get together, develop some relocation referral connections within the Coldwell Banker family, and just have a phenomenal foundation laid for your career going forward. Once again, the dates are December 14th through the 17th. In Fairfield. Casey will be sending out the flyer, and we're going to encourage all of you to sign up and attend. I will also share, Mike Carter was one of Peter's former partners,
Yes,
and their company, Coldwell Banker Legacy, is now a Ninja company. I believe they've offered the installation throughout the company.
We've done 7 installations, actually.
Yeah. So great opportunity. And I mentioned this to Peter. I mean, I sent it, Brian Buffini, and it came from Larry Kendall. Larry was his mentor. At least that's the understanding that he's given us. So, if you're a Brian Buffini follow, this is Brian Buffini on steroids. This is the original program. This is where Brian drew most of his wisdom from. So, great opportunity. I hope you all take advantage of it. And again, Peter, thank you very, very much.
And thank you, Phil, for the time. If you want to check it out, go to ninjaselling.com, go to events. The registration is online. You can just sign up right there. There'll be probably 50 to 60, Bridget, is kind of what we think. We like 50 people. Like we said, we've got all the COVID protocols in place. Will be masked as appropriate and distanced so that we don't create a spreader event. That would be a really bad idea. So go to ninjaselling.com and events, and you can register right there.
Peter, once again, thank you very much.
Take care. Bye, Phil. Bye.
Thanks,
Take care.
Chris, get better. Get better.
Oh, thank you.
Make discs whole.
Yeah,
right.
I know.
See y'all.
That's at the top of my list.
Yeah, good. Take care.
All right. Thanks,
Thank you.
Peter. All right. We want to see who has marketing, who has a listing they'd like to share. Just put it in the chat, raise your hand. And by the way, while we're waiting for that, Chris, are you planning on doing a spot afterwards, holding court?
I don't think so.
She's in quite a bit of discomfort. Kathy, you have a listing you'd like to peach.
Yes, thank you, Phil. Good morning, everybody. Actually, I have a big price reduction on my new construction townhomes. 2 of them have closed escrow. Yay! And I have 2 left. And the prices are really good for brand new construction, 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-car garages at PCH and Termino. And the one has been reduced to $654,950, and then the other one has been reduced to $684,950. So the 2 that sold in there sold for $685. So we know the comps are there and they're worth it. So anybody who hasn't seen them or has a client that would maybe be interested or are looking at a 2-bedroom house somewhere, this might be a really good choice for them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy. Betsy, you have something for us.
Hello. Yes. So I have a 1-bedroom coming up in the Lafayette building in downtown Long Beach. It does have a view of the Queen Mary, the aquarium, and kind of like a peekaboo view of the ocean. It only has 1 shared wall, which is great because it's on the corner in the building. And above them is just the patio for the penthouse. We're going to try and make it live early next week, but the sellers are open just because they're out shopping for a new home. And it's going to be listed at $359,900.
Great. Congratulations, Betsy. Mr. Nader.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Go Dodgers. Just wanted to give everybody a heads up with I've got a new listing, but prior to that, we're fighting with an appraisal report right now that the listing agent didn't do anything to curb a concern of the appraisal. This appraiser used 2 6-month-old comps from April, which was in the height of the pandemic scare, which created a major issue for our pricing. And so I just want to point it out that if you're representing the buyer, make sure that your listing agent that you're working with is in fact giving good supporting documentation to the appraiser. And if you're the listing agent, obviously make sure that you're giving them the comps you want them to use so you don't end up fighting it, because it's definitely going to be a battle no matter what. So anyway, we have a new listing coming up. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo with 2 parking spots right across the street from the office, actually right across the street from Big 5 on PCH. It's vaulted ceilings, top floor end unit, really nice space, great natural light, and it does have AC and heat, lots of storage as well. We're going to be listing it around $399. It'll be on the market next week. So if you have any buyers who want that entry level price point as a 2-bedroom solid unit, should be on the market next week. Just let me know. Thanks.
All right, great. Thank you, Steve. And Mr. Steinberg.
Good morning, family and friends. I'm really excited to announce a new listing that I just secured this week. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, about 2,600 square feet. It's in the exclusive gated community of Bay Harbor. It's a fabulous home, highly renovated. Kitchen was just redone. Nobody's ever cooked a meal in that property. So it's going to be staged the end of this week. I'll put it in the comments. List price will be $1,425. It's about ready to go live next week. I'd love to introduce somebody here at the office. It's a 2.5 commission. So please reach out to me. Also, if anybody still has a commercial need, I've got that property on 2650 Elm Street that's lingering a little bit for me. So I would love to get that one off before the end of the year. So reach out to me, please. I would love to work with somebody here. Have a great day.
Great. Thank you, David. And Molly, you have a new listing on the hill in Seal Beach.
We do. 629 Seabreeze will go active today. It's over 3,000 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath, plus another room. Whoops, sorry. Speaking of, plus another room for an office. It is, Seabreeze has got a lift on it, if you will. So you've got great sea breezes through that house. Completely redone, beautiful blue grotto pool. And it's going to be listed at 1.795. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly. And let's see, Scott, you have a new listing, and then Elliot has a buyer need.
Yeah, I do. Thank you, Phil. My new listing in Palm Desert is now on the market. It is 3 years new. It was built in 2017. This was actually the builder's model. So it's the model home. It is being sold completely furnished, all the appliances, everything. It's over 2,500 square feet. It's currently a 2-bedroom, 3-bathroom. It has an office and a den, but there is a closet in there. So you actually could enclose it and make it a 3rd bedroom. It's got amazing views of the mountains, like 180-degree mountain view. Absolutely gorgeous. It's listed at $950. The community is, you feel like you're at a resort. It's absolutely amazing. So if you have any buyers for the desert, give me a call. And the virtual tour online is really great if you want to take a look at it. I'll post it on Inside Scoop. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. All right, and Elliot, you have your buyer need.
Yes. Looking for Belmont Heights, East Side Circle area. About a 2-bedroom, 900 square foot, up to 650 or so. If anyone has anything coming up, it'd be awesome. And then we got another one for the Norwalk area, Santa Fe Springs, up to about 700. Really a 3-2, 3-1, a 2-1 is all up for grabs in that area. So if anyone's got anything, I'd appreciate Shy.
Great. How's your golf game?
It's getting better every day, Phil. Trying to.
Good. And Michelle, Melissa, do you want to talk about your buyer needs in Rossmore? She may not have, she's posted, they want a Rossmore townhome. Her phone number's there. Thank you, Melissa. And Lauren is asking Steve the price on his 2-bedroom. 400,000, correct? All right. See, I can interpret sign language. Anybody else have a listing that they want to promote today? Any other buyer needs? Well, I want to thank all of you for joining us this morning. Please encourage you to sign up for the installation. Make an investment in your future. This is a phenomenal way to do it. And we will plan on seeing everybody there. We'll have an installation good time get together. So at any rate, have a good week. Go get them Tigers. Chuck, it's nice seeing you. Nick.
Hi, Chuck. Okay, one quick thing. I promised my partner I would do this on the call today. So for those of you that don't know, my partner is actually from Venezuela, and he grew up with a lot of family friends who sadly have not been able to make their way out of Venezuela. And so one of his friends is the head nurse at a children's hospital in Venezuela. And I'm not kidding when I tell you guys, these kids don't have access to medicine like we do. They don't have access to even food. We actually monthly send them just Pedialyte. So a lot of the children can just nourish themselves to actually get better. So something we're doing this year that's a little bit different is we are actually collecting toys. I know that we have local toy drives and all kinds of things here in the US, but I'm telling you, these kids, some of them won't even make it through 2021. So to bring a smile to some of these kids this holiday season would be amazing. Every holiday event we do as a family this year, we're collecting toys. So if anybody has the option to leave a toy at the front desk at their office, if you want to drop it off at Seal or I can come get it from you, it would be amazing. Our goal is to fill an entire pallet full of toys to send to the hospital in Venezuela. So I know it's abroad, it's not a local cause or charity, but I would just love to support this as much as I possibly can. So thank you guys.
Nick, thank you very much. And of course, part of our culture here is one of giving. We have done substantial giving over the years.
Carla said what age range, Nick?
Yeah, Carla wants to know what age range.
I mean, they have every, the kid level to play with toys would probably be 2 or 3 years old, all the way up to about 16 years old is kind of, so it's a wide range. Most of the toys we've received are like Legos, Barbies, things like that, which are totally amazing. So really there's not a wrong answer when it comes to that kind of stuff. So anything would be really, really special. So thank you.
Great. Nick, thank you very much. We will coordinate this. I think we can establish boxes in each of the office to help collection. We'll do that. Thank you again, Nick.
Of course. No worries, guys. Thanks for letting me say that little bit. And then again, thanks for everybody giving the warm welcome to Chuck. He's just checking us out. And I think you guys didn't scare him away. So thank you.
Yeah. I hope not. We look forward to having you part of the family, Chuck. Thanks. All right. With that, guys, have a great week. Go get them Tigers. We'll see you next Wednesday. Take care.
Everyone.